This summer, I've been trying to learn how to be happier, and honestly, I've been pretty successful. So in this video, I'm going to share some of the things that I've learned. There's two components to happiness. One is being happy in your life, and one is being happy with your life. Being happy in your life means feeling lots of positive emotions like joy, laughter, you know the deal. And being happy with your life is feeling satisfied, feeling like you have a purpose-driven life. I'm not going to talk about that second bit because honestly, I haven't figured that out yet. So I'm just focusing on that first bit, which is feeling more positive emotions in your day-to-day life. Most of the information in this video is stuff I've learned through an online course directed by Yale, and it's about how to be happier. All of the things that I'm mentioning are research-based and backed up with evidence. I'm not going to cite my sources. If you want to look at the sources, I'll put a link to the Coursera course so that you can check it out for yourself. Now, one of the most actionable things that you can do to become significantly happier is to be more social. And not just with your friends, but also with the people around you, the people that you pass in your day-to-day life. A lot of times, people might, talk to someone at the grocery store, but you're not really having a conversation. It's just like, oh, do you want a bag? Do you need a receipt? But instead, if you just try to make a real connection and ask, hey, how's your day going? And you say it with a genuine tone of voice, those little interactions like that, even just small talk, can make a significant impact on your happiness. I also want to stress the importance of putting work into your relationships, especially your family. If you don't get along that well with your parents or your sibling, put in some effort to try to change that. Talk about some of the things that maybe aren't working the best for you and try to see if you can heal the relationship. I know it's really hard, but from personal experience, I can tell you that it's so worth it. Another great way to be social is to be engaged in local activities. For instance, there's a bar near me that hosts weekly line dancing, and I've been going there and making friends and just having a total blast every time I go. I would recommend looking up what you can do in your area that might be similar. Another science-based way to become happier is to be kind. Whether it's donating money, donating time, or even just giving someone a genuine compliment, being kind to others is proven to make us feel happier. One of my favorite ways to spread kindness is to tell a loved one how much they mean to you. Recently, I just wrote a letter to a friend, and a handwritten letter, I know, crazy in today's age, and gave it to her, and she said it made her whole week and she cried while reading it. And that made me feel really happy because I want her to know how much I appreciate her. Something that's interesting to note is that happier people are also usually kinder people, so it's kind of a cycle. If you can get yourself to be a little happier, you might be a little kinder, which will make you even more happy, and then there you go. So just try to do whatever you can to start that cycle. Moving on to our next topic, which is just random tips I've learned throughout the course. I want to talk about a definition of playfulness, which is doing an activity because it's intrinsically rewarding and not caring about the outcome. That second bit is actually so important, and I didn't realize that for a long time. This course really helped me to solidify this in my brain. An example that's relevant to me is playing video games. I like to play competitive games where there's a winner and a loser, and sometimes it sucks if you lose, right? But the whole point of playing a game is that you don't have to care about the outcome. It's a game. There is literally nothing that changes in your life whether you win or you lose. So why don't you just enjoy the experience while you're having it? I found that this attitude has made me have way more fun, and if I lose to something silly, I just laugh at it and it's fun. I think our generation has had a lot of pressure to succeed in our lives, so we kind of take the fun out of everything and try to be the best at it. But you don't have to be the best at everything. Even something like going to the gym, a lot of people can turn that into like a competition where you have to be like the most jacked person ever. But really, that's not necessary. If you want that, that's cool. But you can also just enjoy a fun workout. Speaking of working out, do that. I say this in all my videos, but do that and then also sleep well. Sleep is like the number one most important thing that you can do to be happier, is to set a consistent sleep schedule. I really recommend having an alarm and keeping it every day. Another idea I got from the course is to do a fun audit, which is basically taking 3 times that you remember having a lot of fun, writing them down, and seeing if there's any similarities. So 3 things I wrote are ultimate frisbee in the snow, basketball with my friend Dan, and jet skiing. Those are 3 memories that I remember just having a total blast. And I recognize that all of these kind of have to do with like sports or movement, and now I know that that's something that I really enjoy. And so I can try to program more of that into my day. Recently, I've been trying to play more basketball and play outside more often because I know that brings me a lot of happiness. So find what brings you joy and actually do it. Don't just like sit all day on your phone. That's not going to make you happy. Next, I want to talk about hedonic adaptation, which is a mental process where we get used to stuff in our lives. This happens with both good and bad things. You've probably heard about this study that compares lottery winners to people who got paralyzed, and it turns out that over time, their happiness kind of ends up being around the same place anyway. There's 2 things we can learn from this. One is to take risks, because if it doesn't work out, it's probably not going to feel as bad as we thought it would be. A great example for this is applying for a job or asking someone out. You might feel like you're going to feel terrible if you get rejected, but it turns out it probably won't impact you as much as you think. The second takeaway is that the good stuff in our life often becomes less good as we get used to it. But there's a few ways to combat this. The first way is negative visualization, which is basically just imagining what your life would be like if you didn't have that thing. So take, for example, your car. That's something that we might take for granted, but if you picture your life without a car, think about how difficult it would be to do basic things like go to the grocery store. Another way to fight it is through savoring, which is basically taking a step back from an experience and recognizing how you feel during it. How would you describe the experience to a friend? Another way that you can savor a moment is to use your phone and take a picture. Then you can look back at it later and think about how grateful you were. Additionally, just the act of taking a picture can make you spend more time in that, wow, this is so cool mentality. This is a great use of your phone, but there are also many negative uses to phones that I want to touch upon. One of them relates to our attention. The course that I was talking about mentions how even just having your phone in the same room as you, even if it's not buzzing, it's not doing anything, can actually make you enjoy positive experiences less. It also makes you perform worse on challenging tasks. So a simple solution is just to put your phone in another room. People nowadays carry their phones with them literally everywhere. Back in high school, there were a couple days where I left my phone at home just because I wanted to, and some people thought I was weird for doing that. We're so addicted to our phones that we can't be without them for like 2 hours. Like, it's fine. You're not gonna die. In fact, if you carry your phone around with you, you're more likely to die earlier. I know that might sound crazy, but like I just said, screen time can reduce happiness, and actually happiness is correlated with life expectancy. Happier people live longer. So whenever you pick up your phone, you can use this acronym, WWW. Think, what for? What am I using my phone for? Why now? Is this an urgent thing that I really have to do? And what am I missing out on by picking up my phone? Say you're in a room with someone else and you pick up your phone. You're missing out on the opportunity to connect with the other human being right in front of you. The last thing I want to mention is how media can make us way less happy. Human beings have a tendency to compare ourselves to reference points. That's just how we operate. And if you're spending all your time on social media, you're seeing these beautiful models. Everyone seems to be having so much fun, when in reality, that's only a small portion of their life. They're putting out their happiest moments, right? And so if you're using that as a reference point, you're gonna feel like you're so much worse, you're so much farther behind than everyone else, and that's gonna make you feel bad about yourself. So an easy way to combat this is to change your use of media. You don't have to eliminate media, but just be mindful of what you're consuming. Personally, I use Instagram now, and it brings me a ton of happiness because I mostly just follow accounts of cute dogs, and it's great. There's just cute dog videos whenever I want them. It's amazing. You should do that. And the last thing that I want to say is that you have to actually implement stuff in order to see it change. Just watching this video isn't really going to do anything. You have to at least implement one thing that I talked about. And why wouldn't you? I'm literally telling you how to be happier. Isn't that something you want? So put in the effort and you'll feel happier. All right, have a good one. Also, pet cats.